Steve Martin is thinking back on his tense connection with his father. The 78-year-old star of Only Murders in the Building, in his new two-part documentary film Steve Martin, a documentary in 2 pieces on Apple TV+, opened up about how his father, Glenn Martin, felt about his professional decisions. "I always felt like I embarrassed my father a little bit," remarked Steve, the movie's narrator. He couldn't quite be proud of an unconventional showbiz act that he didn't quite understand. By the midpoint of his career, the father of the bride actor claimed to have mastered the art of turning his father's criticism into drive. Glenn was interviewed by him behind the camera, and he said, "By that time, I had been so sort of alienated by my father that negative comments were actually my encouragement." Steve's sister Melinda Dobbs mentioned in the first scene of the movie that her brother was treated with no affection by their father and instead took the brunt of his rage and criticism. Steve remembered his early years as cheerful, but outside the house. John McEwen, a musician and friend of Glenn's, recalled seeing a glimpse of Glenn criticizing his son backstage during a performance. "You know what was wrong with that show?" McEwen's father asked him as soon as Steve entered the room. "Anyhow, I slip away." Considering that the show in question was flawless, McEwen stated. Glenn didn't even hold back when criticizing Steve during business gatherings, such as the premieres of his son's films. Steve remembered his father being rather quiet at the end of The Jerk, a 1979 movie that also starred Bernadette Peters. However, Steve recounted in the second part of the movie that Glenn remarked, "Well, he's no Charlie Chaplin," at dinner when he was asked to consider his son's performance by a friend. Steve acknowledged at the end of the movie that his need for his father's praise drove him for the majority of his career. Later in life, the actor added, he followed a friend's advice and told his parents all he wanted to say before they passed away and he lost the opportunity. Get the best of people, from celebrity news to gripping human interest stories, sent straight to your inbox by subscribing to their free daily newsletter. He had a deeper understanding of his father and realized that he was under a great deal of stress to support his family. "You realize what he went through, it's a life of hopes and dreams," he continued. "I have great sympathy for my father." Steve stated that he now views his father differently than he did for the majority of his life. The comic stated, "I like him," in reference to Glenn, who passed away in 1997. Steve Martin, you can watch a documentary in 2 pieces on Apple TV+ right now.